Indeed, they are. Well, thank you for the introduction. I really do appreciate it. We are live. Hooray. It's Geek Therapeutics. I am not anyone from Geek Therapeutics, but I am a game designer, and my name is Astra Ebonwing. You don't recognize me and you don't know me, and that's because I'm wearing a mask. So it's pretty hard to anyone to realize who's hiding under the mask. But I will let you know that I am a alternate reality game puppet master from about 16 years ago. And since then, I have gone into video games myself, working in the background for a number of companies, including in the massively multiplayer genre, MOBA genre, first-person shooter, and of course, role-playing games. So thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm really excited. And of course, we have a lovely party, which I can't wait to meet. And I'm guessing people may have already met some of you. Were you all on stream before?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago? Okay, so we're putting you all back on stream now and putting the spotlight back on, increasing the pressure once more, and everyone's gonna have to perform a little bit tonight, a little bit. So please, why don't we go down the line, because I still need to introduce and learn about all of you and your backgrounds. And I just want to hear a little bit about you. And then we're going to go through into character creation after that. And we're going to go step by step. The game we're going to be playing tonight is called Maid, the role-playing game. Maid is a Japanese role-playing game. It is, I believe, the first of the Japanese role-playing style games to be translated out of Japanese and brought here to America. And that means it uses very different design rules than a traditional game like Dungeons and Dragons or another role-playing game that you might have touched in the past. It's very rules light, it's very fast, and it relies a lot on social interaction at the table. There's going to be a lot of chaos tonight. And that's because Maid basically mimics everyone's favorite style of anime, the reverse harem anime. So you will all tonight be stepping into the roles of maids, powerful maids, here to protect the mansion and the mistress. Who is the mistress? We'll get to that later. You'll have to protect her. She will be important. And we're going to go on a little adventure together, and we're going to see if we can keep the house safe. And can you make sure that the coffee is still made on time? You're going to find out. You're going to find out. So Brianna, please introduce yourself once again for those who haven't maybe met you before.
Yeah, I'm Brianna. I'm in Bellingham, Washington, and I'm a private kids and family therapist.
Awesome.
I'm very excited to play.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Kyle.
Joe and I run the supportive gaming community at Texas Christian University. And I don't know. What else, Joe? Tell them about me.
Kyle also helps me to run the supportive gaming community at TCU. I am a licensed chemical dependency counselor in the state of Texas, intern, LCDCI, and I'm also the host of the Tabletop Theory YouTube channel, and I'm really looking forward to playing tonight.
Sweet. I'm neither of those things.
Have you played Maid before, or have you heard of the game, seeing that you run a YouTube channel devoted to this?
I have heard of the game, but I'll be completely honest, I have never done any research, nor have I ever played it before. So I'm very excited to learn more about it tonight.
Then you're in the place I need you to be. Has anyone actually researched the game at all before I get all the way down?
I just pulled it up and I've been kind of perusing very lightly.
I saw that it was a D6.
It is a D6.
That's all I got.
That's all you need to know. Yeah, we don't need to know too much more than that. And then did I hit all the players? Have I done all the players, or do I?
We have Crystal.
Yeah, I think I'm the last one. Yeah, my name is Crystal. I'm an associate clinical social worker in Redlands, California, working through private practice, group private practice over telehealth.
Awesome. And telehealth is something I'm familiar with because technology breaks. And usually I'm the one that's like telling my therapist how telehealth works. So thank you for using that system, and thank you for all the work that all of you do in all of your various fields. It really is appreciated. I know, at least from the gaming community and my professional standpoint, it is super important. So thank you. But now let's just loosen up. Let's just get to a game. That's what we're here for, right? You all are ready to make some characters. So we have some rules before we actually make characters. And the first rule is you do not choose your stats. They are handed to you, as a matter of fact. So what we're going to be doing is writing down a listing of the most important statistics to a maid. Oh, yes. Very appropriate.
Can I have my statistics, senpai?
Already it has begun, and we haven't even turned the game on yet. Oh, this is going to be wonderful. You are just the party I need for this. All right, you'll be writing down the following words. Athletics. And these words are important. Follow along, chat. You can even make a maid at home if you want. This is half of the fun.
Maid along with us.
Maid at home. See what you would choose.
You see what I made?
Affection.
Dad jokes.
Affection?
Affection. Love.
Oh, affection, yeah. Of course.
Affection, yes. After that, it's going to be skill. And I'm going to pop out the chat so I can read it. And thank you, RestrainBot, for putting up Facebook user comments. Of course, yeah. Thank you so much to our lovely producer who is responding for us. I appreciate that as well. Let us keep going down the maid list. Skill is the next one. That's a bit shorter. So we'll just jump to the next one, which is cunning. Well, thank you, by the way. I have to maintain some level of mysteriousness. We're looking for luck. Luck is going to be the 5th. And then the last one is going to be will. What do you think those words mean?
Well, athletics is how many tomatoes you can throw.
It is. That's part of
Affection
it.
is
Yeah.
how well you can pet a tomato.
How well you can
Yeah.
pet the tomato. That is true.
Skill is how well you can slice a tomato.
Yes, actually, that's actually very accurate in the description of skill.
Cunning is the ability to sell somebody a tomato-based fruit salad.
That is correct as well. As a matter of fact, it is tricking. It is tricking. It is how well you can deceive and trick and use those styles of skills. And then will.
Oh, well, luck is
Luck. Yeah, obviously we're gonna skip luck.
avoiding
Come
the
on.
tomato hitting you when it's thrown.
Yeah, it's just it was not even that, because if you were avoiding it, then you'd be moving. You would have made a
You're right.
conscious decision, right? In
Yes.
this, with luck, it's always the unconscious. So it's going to be fate just smiled upon you. And how lucky
Mhm.
does fate smile upon you?
You had the
Hopefully
biggest
really big.
harvest of tomatoes.
A big harvest of tomatoes. That would be luck. Yeah, exactly. And then will.
The ability
Eating a
to
tomato
eat.
with your mind.
I was going to say the ability to eat the tomato-based fruit salad.
This is where it gets interesting. That's the one that everyone actually always gets a little bit wrong. And that's because will in this game is defined in a very different way than traditional our culture would define will. And that's why this game becomes a little bit interesting off the bat. It's because it's using a Japanese understanding of willpower and what it means to have will. And that is, in this game, it's going to be how positive and how constructive is your thinking. Basically, can you push through a task even against all odds and still get it done mentally and physically? And it's the union of those
Fortitude.
two concepts. Fortitude. Yeah. So now we're going to have to, generate stats. And that's, of course, going to be done by rolling 1d6 twice. And we're going to be rolling 2d6 for this one and dividing by 3. I went one sentence too far.
2d6 divided by 3?
Yep. And you're going to do this
Okay.
each time for every attribute going straight down. And then we're going to talk about that.
So if we have an odd number, do we divide by 3, take the higher, or do we take the 0.5?
That's a great question. No, the mistress determines that you must remove the 0.5 and you go down. You're maids. You're not that great.
All right.
You're
Fine.
good. Let's not get excited about these extra points here.
All right. Divide by 3. I can do this math.
Okay.
Sure. Oh,
This is only the first of the math. There's more math
Uh-oh.
coming.
Well, if there's less math than Pathfinder in earlier editions, I'm good.
Yes. There is much less math in Pathfinder in earlier editions, and there's less math than even chainmail in earlier editions or Ars Magica.
Ooh, I got a 3.
Ooh, you've been the lucky recipient of the bad roll.
Oh, I got a total. I did my math. I got a 9.
Oh, you got a 9, but it came out to 3.
Yeah.
I got.
So,
Only got one.
I'm not. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say I'm probably not going to be the most competent maid in the world based on what I've received. So yeah, sorry, Brianna.
No, I'm down there with you. I'm like, okay, that's
Hmm.
a 2. That's a 1. That's a 1. That's a 0.5. Does that count as a
Mhm.
1 or is that a 0? No, haven't gotten a 0 yet. Not quite there yet.
Yeah,
but-
haven't lucked into a 0 at this point.
Yeah.
Almost
No zeros for me.
everything's a 1 except for luck and will at this point. So
Right.
I am a
1, 2, 3, 1, 2,
terrible
3.
maid. Ooh, I'm very cunning though.
So here's an interesting question for us now, because everyone has stats and everyone is looking at them and they can see them, how good they are in some statistics and how good they are in others, or aren't, I should say. I'm going to leave this first decision up to you, the party. And this is an out of game decision that we're going to form a consensus around. And that's basically is, do we as a party want to know each other's stats, or do you want to not know and actually be surprised by other people's abilities?
I'm always down for surprise.
I enjoy not knowing. That's fine.
Not knowing?
Yeah, I think it's more fun that way.
Yeah. Well then, because of that, because you're all engaging in that and you all want to jump in, I feel as though I need to get back to. So what I will do is I will also not look at your character sheets. In fact, I won't know a dang thing about your characters. I'm not even going to look at the stats. You've rolled them. I trust you. All right. I'm just going to say to the entire group that I trust you. And we're going to move along. And now this has problems, doesn't it? For any of our, DMs, training. What don't I know now if I don't look at your stats?
You don't know what challenges would be too difficult for any one of us.
Correct. I don't know what's appropriate. I don't know what to actually send at you, right? I can't stat, for example. I would normally be statting monsters in my head and then throwing them against you. I can't do that now. This restriction actually places a burden on me as a GM, one that is uncommon to other styles of games because the information is always presented. Tonight, it's going to be a little bit different. The information is not going to be presented to me, and I'm going to have to roll with it, which is going to be a very interesting scenario, right? So, and we're going to talk about that because doing this, obviously, as you know, as therapists, is pretty much a setup for a little bit of therapy. There's always information that your client is never going to be handing you, right? And there's something that you have to learn about them. We're going to do that tonight, and we're going to do this in the context of technically statistics, only 6 numbers. And you're not going to know who's good at what. You're not going to know who is appropriate for the task. The team is going to be a little disorganized because of that. That's going to be the effect it has on the game because you're going to be arguing. Unfortunately, the output of this game is to win. And to win, you have to get as much favor as possible. And how do you get favor? You please the mistress of the house. You have to do whatever the mistress wants, and you have to make sure the tasks are getting done on time. If they are, I will be rewarding you with a set amount of favor points, depending on which task is done and what other things you've overcome and encountered in the process. If I believe that you're also role-playing well and you're really interacting with others, I'm going to give bonus points too. That's going to be sort of the consensus. And at the end, we're going to see who the most successful maid is by looking at the favor points. Whoever has the most at the end of the game is technically going to be promoted to head maid. That is your reward for the night. You'll become head maid and get to run the house. Isn't that wonderful?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right. I am already feeling the energy here. We all want to get promotions. Okay, so we have to go further. We have to learn more about our maid now, don't we? We have a basic framework, but doesn't tell us a lot about her. So we need maid types. What I'm going to do is we're going to go in order. Brianna, you're going to start. You're going to roll 1d6, and you're going to roll it 2 times, and you're going to tell me those 2 numbers separately.
All right. 3 and 3.
You are a pure maiden maid. That is what you will be playing amongst us tonight.
Pure maiden.
Yes, your affection gets a +1 because you're so pure and innocent.
Oh boy, here I go. Pure maiden. Okay.
Now here's the problem. Your cunning is going to go down by 1. And if it was 1, it can go to 0. Just so you know.
I have 0 cunning.
What could possibly go wrong?
Nothing goes over
you
my
can
head.
never attempt it, by the way. You can never
that's fun.
roll. You can roll for it, and your result will always be 0. In that case, because we're all hiding stats from each other, I will ask you to actually give me the result and roll it in front of us. So you will be asked to present me with a 0, and everyone will find out
It's a
very
0
quickly.
again.
It's a 0. All right, so that is actually you get a +2 to your affection and -2 to your cunning. I should because you rolled
Wow.
pure twice.
Oh, damn.
You rolled 2 3s. You rolled pure twice. And the
Well.
description is you are a pure, maidenly, clean, and fragile.
I just want to serve the lady. I mean, she's the light of my life. She makes the world go round. Isn't she just wonderful?
Already perfect. We're already getting into it. Kyle, you have two rolls.
2-5.
2-5. Kyle, you'll be playing tonight the member of the staff who is our sexy tomboy.
Sexy. Are those the two types, sexy and
Those are the two
tomboy?
types that you have been assigned. Yeah, it
Sell
is
it, Kyle.
technically
I
sexy,
gotta sell it.
and technically it's boyish is the other one. but
Boyish.
it's tomboy. Yeah, it
So
comes
we're
out.
thinking sporty spice. Okay.
We're thinking sporty spice in this makeup. I'm thinking, yeah, charming and coquettish, very womanly, but also wild and energetic. And at first glance, looks like a boy. I just saw that in chat. Oh, our producer's already enjoying this. Joe,
Yeah.
how'd that go?
It went like a 2-4.
A 2-4.
Yeah.
A 2-4 looks like you're a sexy cool cat. That's what.
Okay.
That's where you're playing tonight.
Full
You're-
on Jessica Rabbit.
You are, I think, pretty much tsundere when you mix these two. It's charming, coquettish, but composed and expressionless. So I think it's going to be going in a very tsundere direction.
All right.
Yeah. Your changes to your stats are, sorry, I didn't give Kyle your changes to your stats, did
Oh, yeah.
I? You need a +1 cunning and +1 athletics. And you're also going to be taking a -1 will and a -1 skill.
Okay.
And then for 2 and 4 for our tsundere character, that's going to be +1 cunning and +1 skill.
Hey,
And it's
all
going to
right.
be -1 will and -1 affection.
Copy that.
Yeah. Crystal,
Yes, I have a 4 and a 1.
4 and a 1. Okay, so it's, you're the cool Lolita.
A cool Lolita. Perfect. Amazing.
All right.
Oh my God, no pressure. That's fine.
You said 4 and 1, right?
Yes, 4 and 1.
4 and 1. Yeah. Okay. So you're composed and expressionless, but you're very innocent. You're a little not knowledgeable about life. You get things confused really, really easily. That's what the Lolita archetype is. It's very young and innocent and sweet and a lot around that. Your
Okay.
changes are going to be as follows. It's going to be +1 luck and +1 skill. And then -1 athletics and -1 affection.
Okay. And are these modifiers or are these just take the numbers that we rolled and then subtract or
These
add?
will be permanent changes to your statistics. These are not
Cool. Okay.
modifiers. Yeah.
Wonderful.
We'll only ever use these 6 numbers because later on we're going to be rolling D6s and it's actually going to be multiplied. So it's
Cool.
your attribute times the dice roll, and that's what you get.
Awesome.
Now, the next part is very important as well. We'll do this all at once. You need Maid colors because otherwise I'm never going to be able to tell you all apart. So roll 2 dice again, and I'm going to tell you what you're wearing.
You want the total number or?
Not total number. It's going to be 2 numbers again.
Okay, I think Google's broken because I just got 2 3s again.
Oh no, let's roll that again.
Yeah. Yeah, Google's broken. I'm gonna refresh this page real fast because I can't find my real dice.
No.
How about 5 and a 5?
5 and a 5. That can work. A 5 and a 5 on the color table means you're wearing brown and black.
Very boring, pure Maid. Okay.
Because you're modest.
Yeah,
You don't want to be
yeah.
too, yeah.
high
Yeah.
collar down
You
to
don't
my
need to be
wrist.
flashy.
No,
Yeah. Yeah, not at
I'm
all.
humble. I just gotta find a picture
Kyle.
now.
6 and a 2.
6 and a 2. Your 2 is going to be, so your main color is going to be vermilion red, and you have a purple offset.
Vermilion red
Vermilion red, yeah.
and purple trim.
Purple trim.
How elegant.
Joe,
Yeah.
very elegant.
1 and a 3.
1 and a 3. That's going to be red and orange. You're very fiery.
Well, I am the sexy cool cat.
And Crystal.
I have a 4 and a 2.
4 and a 2. That's going to be pink, and it's going to be purple. Oh my goodness. All right, so we have our colors. Now we need special qualities. What's unique about your maids? We're going to find out. We're going to roll on the special quality table. You're going to roll this in a weird way. It's called a D66. You're going to have to take both dice. You're going to have to call 1, 1 and 1, 2, and then tell me the two numbers, like basically like 34 or 56, something like that. I will tell you what your special quality is. Brianna.
24.
24. So you have a very unique special quality. You and I are about to share an experience together because you in the cast are secretly hiding that you're an adult man.
Why is she so pure?
I
I dress on.
got this. I got this. I
We're
got
going-
this.
You got this.
We
All
are
right.
going full harem comedy here. This is
Full harem
fantastic.
comedy.
Love
Full on.
it.
So you are taller than the rest, everybody else. You 100% look like a guy, but nobody in the cast can realize it. Like, everybody is just completely blind to the fact that you're actually a guy.
Just a whole lot of nani.
Really a man,
Yeah, that you're a
taller.
cross-dresser. They all think you're a woman.
Obviously,
They're all dead sure.
I got this.
All right. Kyle.
I got this.
Oh, where's my roll? 61.
61. You have a secret job, and I have to send it to you.
Oh,
You're gonna have
wow.
to roll the dice again
Send it to me on Discord.
and tell me the number again.
Oh, same 66.
Yes. Oh, 66 this time? Okay.
Oh, sorry, no. I was asking if it's a D66. It is
D66 again. Oh,
yes.
no, sorry. It's D6 for this, actually. It's
Just
just
one
one
D6?
D6. Yeah.
a 4.
Okay. I will send it to you privately on Discord. Okay. That's a weird job. Let me find you in the cohort quick. Kyle.
Secret job is Maid Cafe.
All right. It has been sent to you on Discord.
All right, I got it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's surprisingly close to my real job.
I was about to say.
Now I want to know.
Yeah, you're not going to find out. It's a
Rude.
secret.
Well, obviously you're blind and need glasses because
That's wonderful.
you can't tell. There we go.
Joe.
51.
51. I believe we have. We have the relationship. Roll 1d6.
It's on. 3.
3. Your relationship is very, very close with a character in the plot. You look upon them as a mentor, and the person you look upon is the woman named Lady Mystery.
Some serious senpai vibes with Lady Mystery. All right.
Yeah, Mysterious
Let's do this.
Senpai. Yeah, that is her name. She's in the plot. She is your mentor. Sometimes even enters in as like almost a father-mother figure to guide you in your life.
Mm.
All right, when you find her. Crystal.
41.
41. You've managed to make a special modification to your uniform that other maids do not possess. We're going to be rolling on the uniform modification table. There's a whole table for this. Let's go.
Amazing.
Roll that 6.
That would be a 3.
All right. So every other maid is currently dressed in cloth, but you didn't believe that that was enough for you. The work at the mansion has gotten very intense as of late, and you've actually upgraded your outfit to a full suit of armor. However, instead of looking like a knight, it looks like a maid. No one,
Amazing.
people are trying to figure out if it's cloth or metal at times, but you clank around in a metal maid dress.
I love
Carbon
it.
fiber lace.
Looks the same. All right, so we have all of that. And then finally, we're going to be talking about, we're not going to be doing roots in this game, although it is an option, but we're going to be looking at stress explosions. You're going to have a maximum amount of stress that you can take during the game. And when that number is exceeded, you must do your stress explosion action. There is a way around this rule. If you believe that you don't want to take the stress explosion and you don't want to waste your actions and you don't want to be stuck doing something you don't want to do, then you can actually refuse. You can refuse the stress and literally go along with whatever someone else suggests in the plot, be it NPC or PC. When you do that, you won't take damage, you won't take any stress, but think about what might happen when you say yes, because that could have other consequences that aren't damage. So keep that in mind. Let's keep going. I have to go a bit further down the rule book here to actually get, oh, I have to give you a weapon. That's right. I have to give everyone weapons. I almost forgot that. That's important. We're gonna roll one more D66. Brianna?
All right. 64.
64. I believe that you are going to be wielding the power of books. You throw books as a blunt instrument and tear out pages to attack. Kyle.
What instrument?
Oh, 31.
31. Your weapon is, you carry around a bat full of nails.
A bag full of nails.
No, not a
Okay.
bag, a bat, a baseball bat. You
Oh,
carry
a bag.
like,
Okay.
we're talking like Walking Dead style almost.
Okay.
Joe?
11.
11. You use the classic mop and broom.
All right.
Yeah.
Appropriate
Basic
for the
fighting
tomboy to
style.
have
All
a bat
maids
full
are
of nails.
trained in combat with mop and broom. This is a very traditional art that you have embarked upon.
I make it look good.
Yeah. Crystal.
36.
36. You're going to be using a wooden sword, the Bakken.
Amazing. With my metal armor.
Yep. There are no changes that your weapon makes to anything in the game. Literally, it's just still rolling. It's going to be athletics, which is going to be the main role. So anytime you do combat where it's physical combat, it's always athletics. There are no bonuses to weaponry. It's just different. Just to give you something to use there. Everyone gets a maid power. One
Yes.
special maid power. Brianna, what is your highest attribute?
What if it's a tie?
Action.
Affection. Roll that. Roll a d6 for me.
All right. It is, oops, I do my dice roller. 5. Oh, sorry. No, I rolled 2 instead of 1. Just kidding. I'm lying.
All right. So
4.
you have your 4. Okay.
Sorry.
So your special ability is it's cooked with love. That's the phrase. It's the power name. Whenever someone eats food you've prepared, you reduce their stress by 1d6.
Reduces stress.
What if there's a tie on your high skill?
If it's a tie, we're gonna actually flip a coin for it. And luckily, I have a coin.
You
Did
have a
you say it's
five-sided coin?
I do not have a 5. Oh. Roll a 5. Roll a d6 and don't count 6. That is an impressive sheet.
All right, it'll be cunning for me.
Okay, cunning. Your special cunning ability is, let's roll a d6 once more.
3.
You have the power of coercion. If you win a roll of cunning versus athletics, you can completely damage or remove someone's uniform and send them down into their skivvies. If you do that, the maid's uniform, I should note, is the basis of power in this game. If you lose a piece of it for any reason, you lose dice, like it mods your dice, basically. The headdress is the worst. It actually adds a -2 to all of your dice rolls. But if any other piece of the uniform gets damaged, you'll lose 1 on your dice rolls infinitely, forever, until the piece of clothing is repaired. That's where your source of majesty comes from, your uniform. Joe.
Yes.
Highest attribute, and then 1d6.
Highest attribute, the number or just the name? The name.
The name?
The name is luck, and I rolled a 5.
Luck. Your special power is foreboding. As the GM, I will sometimes tell you when dangerous things are coming.
Nice. I have Spidey sense.
Yep. And then Crystal.
It's going to be a very interesting character.
What is your highest attribute?
My highest attribute is, cunning.
Cunning. All right. So roll a d6.
Okay. That's 4.
All right. Your special ability is I have a trap card.
I have a track card.
A trap. TRAP. Even if you aren't there at the time, you always have a trap prepared somewhere in the house, and it's just conveniently there wherever combat broke out.
Amazing.
Yeah, and you can always trigger it. If you do, then we can talk about that, but it's your trap. I don't know what it is.
Perfect.
Wonderful.
Astra, were we supposed to have a special stress explosion?
We will be getting this,
Okay.
this stress explosion, yes.
I just have it written on my sheet here.
Had to go down a bit further. Yeah, so everyone's a stress explosions. Let's go through that. Once more with the D66. Brianna?
All right. It is a 56.
56 gets you, you binge. You go crazy binge eating.
It's cooked with love.
It's cooked with love. It's cooked with love.
One for the chef.
Kyle.
Oh, 25.
25. That's going to be teasing. You start persistently teasing every other maid in the scene. Joe.
Tomboy.
14.
14. Stealing. You steal, you go klepto and start stealing from the other maids and and the master. Good Crystal.
21.
21. You're going to be gambling. Every single time that you have a stress explosion, you have a compulsive need to gamble.
Yes, I do.
Oh, this is, I love the background show already. Perfect. Kitty. So those are everyone's stress explosions, and I have to give you all your numbers now for actual stress. Spirits. All right, spirit is will times 10. That's your life basically, and your favor is 0 right now. Now we have a maid.
Spirit
So I
is
would
will
like
times 10.
Will times 10. Yep.
Okay.
So if you don't mind, lovely producer, I think we should take a break at this point because technically they have to think of names. And now that they've been given all of these things, but obviously I just handed them a lot of things. So they're going to need like a minute to think of a name.
All right. Yeah, we can take,
Yeah.
do you want a 5 or a 10?
Let's do a 5 on
All right.
this.
We can do a 5-minute break.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And we'll see you back in 5 minutes while everyone thinks about their name. If you made a maid at home, why don't you think about your name? Put it in the chat. Tell us about the character stats you might have received or wanted to receive. Maybe one of these powers was interesting to you. Who can say? But pick, we'll be back in 5 minutes.
We're good on time. Take your time. I've got. I just now got us back up and running, and the be right back screen is up. So 5 minutes from now. Noises. Okay, we are up at our 5.
bag full of nails, please.
I know, right? Like it is something like that. Ara, you fine people, welcome back to this edition of Maid here at Geek Therapeutics with our lovely D&D cohort number 12, full of therapists. I am Astra Ebonwing. Thank you for returning. And if you stay through the break, we love you even more. Thank you. So we did something very interesting before the break, and that was make characters, but you all made characters based on random dice rolls. None of it was chosen by you. None of it was chosen by me. And that presents, as we said, a problem for me as the DM, because now I don't know your stats and I don't know how to stat appropriately. But it also presents a problem for you all too. And that's you've been having to think about who you're playing, right? Yeah, so it's now brewing in there. We're getting character designs in the back of our minds, and we don't know how they're going to be playing with each other. In fact, we don't know what the cross clash is about to be. And that's the key of this game, is that there will be a cross clash effectively. This is a style of role-playing game which is common, which has actually been brought to America, and it's seen in Paranoia. If anyone has heard of that game, Paranoia the RPG. Which is based in basically saying that everyone at the table needs to find and rat out the quote unquote red traitors of the alpha complex system, which is the futuristic, crazy computer machine. However, everyone is actually a mutant communist in the party. Literally everyone is a mutant communist. In fact, all of alpha complex is mutant communists. They just haven't really figured out that they hit that point yet. So that's where the debacle of that comes. They're all hunting each other effectively, constantly in that game. In this game, we're going to be doing something much more lighthearted, and we're going to be just trying to solve basic tasks like coffee or dusting or making cakes and things like that. Will there be adventure? Probably. Maybe. You'll find out. That's what part of the mod is. And that's where the other half of it comes in, where I've prepared things and now I will launch them at certain times. And I will have to choose specifically what times I'm launching them. This is important for the game flow. In order to keep things paced, in order to keep things interesting, sometimes I might stop you and say, you know what? No, this isn't interesting anymore. We're changing the channel, right? Because at this point, the locus of control in this game has changed. It is not in the normal place that a role-playing game would be. It is now removed and put to the dice, put to randomization, and put inside of a box. So that's the main difference we're going to be encountering. And then think about how different the interactions are that will come out of this game in comparison to your standard game of Dungeons and Dragons and playing it every week. Think about this character in comparison to your other character and how they differed. And as you have questions again, and this includes chat too, chat can absolutely answer, it can ask questions and I'll try and catch up and pause the game. And if you have a red clearance level, good enough, that is good enough for entry into Alpha Complex as a troubleshooter. To all of our Paranoia fans. Okay. So, does everybody have a character in mind at this point? All right. Well, we're going to have to introduce those characters. So let's start the scene and let's start the game. This is what you all came here for. It is a beautiful morning, 5:30 a.m. The sun isn't even up yet. Right here at Mystery Manor. It is a beautiful, huge, enormous monstrosity of a building that seems to go almost infinitely through a whole variety of the landscape. Some of its hallways seem to point in one direction. Some of them seem to splinter off into a maze for absolutely no reason. Still, other portions of the facility are simply a normal house contained within another smaller normal house. You never know what you might find behind each door. However, you're the maid staff. You've been there for a long time within Mystery Manor, and you sort of are beginning to understand some of the routes and the trials and tribulations of working there. It is not an average job experience, as you have found, whereas other people have been giving away easy money to maids for doing nothing more than rubbing feet and just doing a little bit of polish on a couple of shoes. You have to, do things like keep back Cthulhu. That's awful. Like Cthulhu lives in the basement. Have you done snack time? Some maids have. Some maids haven't come back from snack time. You know that, but luckily, you've never been chosen for snack time. Now, it is here at 5:30 a.m. that the camera darts from the beautiful outside and shoots through one of the windows, past the library, past the dining room, past the drawing room, past the second drawing room, past the third drawing room, past the fourth drawing room, and all the way down into the lower level where all of the maids are sleeping. And softly, kindly, one of the small alarm clocks that's decorated in purple and pink begins to shake and quiver and go and wake up its owner. What happens next?
Well, Rakumi is really fast to wake up every morning. So
Rakumi,
you see a hand smack the alarm clock across the room.
is it perfect? Is it just like perfection?
Yeah, just like across the
All
room.
right, do me a favor, roll me a single die and check your skill, please.
My skill? Okay.
Yeah, your skill.
Oh, yeah, 7.
7. Your hand lands perfectly on top. And it goes ding and it neatly turns it off without ever waking up a single one of the other maids. But it's now 5:30 a.m. resuming. Or sorry, what was your name again? Let's like make sure I'm
Rakumi.
saying this. Rakumi. It is now
Rakumi.
5:30 a.m. Rakumi. What is your last name?
Takashima.
Takashima. Rakumi Takashima. What does Rakumi Takashima do in the morning when she wakes up?
I leave the rest of the maids because I have my own business to do. And I would go into another room to begin calisthenics to warm up for the day.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Hey, could you roll me an athletics check while you're doing that?
Definitely.
I really want to see how much effort you're putting into that
Oh,
workout right now.
8.
Well, my maid staff needs to be at top notch. So let's check that out. Everyone else, can you roll me a d6, please? And just luck. Just tell me your luck. Tell me, yeah, it's gonna be the d6 times luck. What are those numbers?
Times luck?
12.
Times luck, 12.
Wait,
Or
this is
12
times?
times.
Oh, was I supposed to be multiplying my modifier
Oh, multiplying, yeah.
on
I
my?
still think 7 plus, it should be high enough, yeah. If you added.
Mine,
It is multiplied.
mine is 10.
Minus, yours is 10? Okay, 10,
Mhm.
12. Joe?
18.
18. All right, Joe, you're the next one to wake up.
Hmm.
Luck has seemed to have found you, and your eyes slowly begin to uncrust themselves. And you begin to blink, and the room is still dark, but you notice that your compatriot, Kazumi, is missing.
Well, only nerds wake up early. So I will roll over, fluff my hair back into its natural, beautiful state because I just wake up this good looking and fall back asleep.
Oh. Okay, well then. You
Just for a
are-
moment, I suppose, but I am the
just for-
sexy, cool
just for a
cat.
moment. Yeah, can you roll me another luck, please?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And that's going to be another 18.
Yeah. We'll get back to you.
Okay.
Brianna and Crystal, I think Brianna was next. You got 12. It's a little late. It's getting towards, almost 6 a.m. at this point. It's like 5:50, and you're waking up now.
Hey. So Haruka Tenno wakes up. Haruka. Yeah. And chefs a little bit, furrows their brow, looks on the blanket and goes, damn it. Takes a few deep breaths and stealthily rolls out of bed, blanket around the waist, and go like nightgown's on, but also an additional blanket around the waist. It's just chilly. It's just chilly. I'm gonna go find the shower now.
Cold shower.
Take a favor point. That's already ridiculous. This is already ridiculous. Okay, we'll get to what favor does in a little while later. You can spend favor to change the outcome of situations if you want. They are power points, but they are also going to be measured as who wins at the end because you will have the most favor stockpiled. So think about when you use your favors because favors can come in handy and get you out of scrapes. Crystal, it's 6 on the nose by the time
Which
you
is
wake up.
typically when Brittany would wake up.
Yes.
She rolls over, she doesn't even get out of bed. She just kind of does that like sleepy thing where you just kind of like throw your legs over the bed, but it's very loud because she sleeps in her maid outfit, which is the full suit of armor, right? So she just kind of sits there with like that blank, like sleepy stare and slowly gets up and clanks her way toward the door to do the things she would do to get ready. She would go for coffee first. She would go for something to help her wake up, start her routine.
All right. So you do go to the kitchen. No one's in there, unfortunately. The coffee maker is there, but you don't know where the coffee is. You're gonna have to find it.
I start looking for coffee. I start opening cabinets.
All right. So what we're gonna be doing is skilled in again. So start shuffling through cabinets.
Okay. 3.
3. Okay. You're unable, unfortunately, to find any coffee. It just seems like the coffee has disappeared. You know, like last you can remember, Rakumi had the coffee.
I think Brittany sighs like a big, like dramatic sigh, and then goes to find Rakumi to try and figure out where the coffee's gone.
All right. So you find Rakumi doing calisthenics,
48,
I believe.
45. Counting out some push-ups here.
Rakumi, you know I can't wake up without where did you put the coffee? I know you didn't hide it so that I would drink water. Where is the coffee?
Did you look in the kitchen?
I looked through all the cabinets in the kitchen.
Back to my push-ups. Did you look hard?
Did you hide the coffee, Rakumi?
You don't need that coffee anymore.
Rakumi, can you roll me a cunning check, please? And Crystal, can you also roll me a cunning check?
Yes.
8.
12.
You know, you feel like Rakumi's trying to get to you a little bit. You feel as though there's something beginning to bubble up that's just really annoying about this moment, but this has happened before. You've seen this happen before. It's okay. Rakumi is really annoying like this, just very dedicated.
I think Brittany gives up in that moment. I think she doesn't want to deal with this early in the morning and goes to get her instant coffee stash that she hides under her mattress for such an occasion.
Do you have luck?
I do.
Can you roll me a luck?
Yes. 10.
Yeah, it's under there, in fact. And you begin making coffee. No, absolutely no problem. Joe, unfortunately.
You found it.
Yeah. Joe, unfortunately, you've woken up. It sticks on the nose. Your eyes open perfectly. You are perfect. Everything is perfect. But you realize that one thing is not perfect. No
This
one's
must be
made
solved.
breakfast.
That was going to be my plan.
So
Chloe Casanova, as effortlessly as she possibly can, wafts herself out of bed, dresses on her way to the kitchen because no one else is down to this part of the house at this point in time, and with the manner of efficiency and effortlessness will proceed to start making breakfast, not just for herself. Oh no, the mistress is the priority. She gets breakfast first, and I will make extra so that later I will come back and eat, but there will also be enough food left over for the people that are wasting their time doing their own morning rituals.
I see. I see.
So
This is
judgy.
this is a big
Mhm.
task. This is a
Hmm.
really big task for me to make that much breakfast. How much breakfast are you making?
I'm making the breakfast enough for whatever the mistress usually wants, which I'm assuming is marmalade, wheat toast, poached eggs, and a side of Canadian bacon.
That is exactly
Never
what
English.
that always you are 100% sure it's never English. You've
That's
been
right.
told that before. Absolutely. So you seem to be on it. You seem to know exactly what to prepare. And because of that, because you have such insight into your job, I'm going to give you a +1 bonus on the die roll itself before the multiplier.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that +1 bonus would be I add 1 to the final result of the die, or I roll in
No,
that second dice.
you're gonna be rolling the die, add 1, and then multiply.
Okay, copy that.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a pretty big up.
Okay, and what skill am I rolling here?
It's gonna be skill.
Oh, well, then that explains that.
Yeah.
All right. So I rolled a 5. I add the 1. That's a 6, which will get me to a 12.
12. 12 is pretty darn good. The food comes out okay. You feel as though if you had some extra help, or maybe some extra hands, or if people stopped like doing what they were doing and maybe actually bothered to help you for once, that you could definitely have made a better breakfast. And that's a little disappointing.
Hmm,
Take 5 stress.
not quite good enough.
But the task is done, however,
Hmm.
and it is done on time. In fact, everyone else is off doing their own things, it seems. What is everyone doing right now?
I think once Rakumi starts to smell food cooking, she's already worked up an appetite. And she also thinks that Chloe is quite the looker as well and wouldn't mind watching from a distance. You know, sweaty, standing over the corner, but not helping.
Oh my God. Brianna?
So Haruka, freshly showered and dressed, comes bustling over to the kitchen. Oh, good, you made breakfast. I mean, you made breakfast. Thank you so much. And grabs and pops some food in their mouth. Oh, this bacon. You did such a good job, Chloe. Oh,
You should eat slower. You sound like you're coming down with a cold.
morning. I just need some water. Did you make juice too? Oh. Okay. Now I can start my day.
All right. Well, I've done the cooking. I guess that means you can do the washing up.
It's
Um,
20. And there are a lot of dishes. In fact,
Well.
everyone roll me will. Everyone roll me a will check.
Ooh.
Self.
What was that? 2, 12.
And
2.
Okay. All right, everyone else but Rakumi. You all look at the time. You all look at the dishes. There's now a huge mess that Chloe has made. It's 10 minutes until breakfast has to be served to the mistress. And you all need to be there and present for it in your outfits, pristine at that time, in order to make sure that the mistress can receive all that the attention that she deserves. This is a requirement. There are now 10 minutes remaining. What do you do? In fact, everyone else is pretty aware that this might be a bad situation, except Rakumi. Rakumi, you have no clue what time it is right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna go relax. Got plenty of time. I got up early.
you were the first
Um,
one up.
Can Brittany have a trap?
Yes, there is a trap here.
There is a trap here. Do I get to decide what the trap is?
Yes, you do. What is the trap?
Amazing. The trap is one of those, I don't know what the technical name is, but I'm sure you all will. It's like one of those that's laid out in the forest where it has like a tarp that has the ropes tied to 4 corners. And when something is laid in it, it goes and cinches up.
That is a net trap.
Net trap.
Net trap.
All right.
It's a net trap. So Brittany yells, "I have a trap," and then starts throwing the dishes from the sink into the net trap. And it springs up and the dishes are done.
Good thinking.
Roll me a. Not yet. Not yet. Okay. All right. It seems the dishes are done. No roll required. That's odd. I guess we'll just have to move on. All of the maids are prepared. It is almost 6:30, and the mistress will be entering the room soon. The dining room in specific. The dining room is a very large room in the house. It's oddly large considering that only one person lives in the house full time, and that would be the mistress. And you're the only other ones, but you're all confined to a very small section, which is actually in the basement, next to the basement. There's two basements, but mind you, they're different. All right.
Not
It
the
does
one with
have-
Cthulhu.
Not the Cthulhu one. That would be an OSHA hazard. Yeah. The one without Cthulhu, however, perfectly fine. Why? Enough living conditions for all of you. Anyway, not perfect, but we move on. It's just good enough. We do, unfortunately, need all the maids there just to make the room look a little bit more lived in, because it is like, you know, the size of a football field. So yeah, we're gonna need everybody in there to make it look real good for the mistress.
Since
All right.
I am classically trained in mop and broom, we're going to bust out some of that mop foo and get cleaning as effectively as I can, and trying to
Ooh.
lead by example and look really good while I do it.
You know, I very much appreciate that you're leading this team to success. Take 2 favor points, actually. And wouldn't you mind rolling a skill for me?
10.
And it seems that your job actually going through has done good work, and you are definitely feeling up to snuff. Now the room is ready.
All right.
Well, if Chloe's working, then Rakumi's ready to start working. Because Rakumi wants to be with Chloe in the same vicinity as much as
Oh.
possible.
Right. Right. So you're finally helping as well.
Oh yeah.
I'll take 1 favor point for that, but also roll me a skill check.
How about a 1?
Oh no. Oh no. It seems, Rakumi, you're so excited. How excited are you right now, Rakumi?
I just wanted to help Chloe.
Chloe, she's coming to help.
Oh, this is always going to end well, isn't it? And
Yes.
yeah, so I'm trained to fight with these things, right? The mop and broom is my weapon.
You can fight with them, but you're cleaning right now with them.
Right. So,
Yes.
all right. I was just going to try to use the fighting style to not let Rikumi fall on the floor and mess up my fabulous cleaning job and try to redirect her into a chair.
Ooh,
And I would like to use
spicy.
my maid power to try
Oh.
and strip Chloe naked at the same time.
That's an escalation.
That went somewhere quick.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'm falling,
Haruka's
but wardrobe
totally-
malfunction.
Haruka's totally down with this. They're gonna go over there for better.
Safety.
Brittany is just confused. Brittany is so confused.
This is one of those trip fall rips.
Yeah, trip, fall, rip. Exactly.
Trip fall rip,
Whoops.
classic. Yeah. So
Mhm.
this is going to be your cunning, Rakumi, versus Chloe, your athletics, because this is a combat maneuver. So it's going to be a comparison happening here.
That's a 4.
8.
8. So Rakumi, your hands, deft, practiced, ready. You see you see the prize come in. She's closer. She's coming in. She's seen that you're trying to clean, and she's like, no, but she's doing it in, you know, her cool way, not that weird way that I do it in. And just as your hands are about to reach, you just see the broom tilt in one quick motion and it wraps you right across the hands, like leaving a bright red mark straight across. How much was that? What was the difference between those two?
4.
4? All right, you're taking 4 points of stress, Rukumi. Your hands are now bright red from being caught in the act.
Yeah, I just look up at her and kind of like scowl.
Scowl all you want. The mistress is on her way.
Just wanted to help.
Indeed, I am on my way, darlings. I'm already here, as a matter of fact. You just simply didn't
Right,
look
scramble
over
to
to
the-
see.
Scramble up.
Standing in the corner, not at one of the doors, and you're kind of wondering how she got there, is a woman wearing black, wearing a mask, looks just like this one. In fact, even has the eye and the symbol, and she has brown hair. In fact, she looks a lot like me. She in fact looks a lot like me, and you know her very well, though. This is not Astra Ebonwing. This is not some random video game developer that you just met on Zoom. This is Lady Mystery.
Hmm.
And this is your mistress of the house. She is the one in charge. What is this debauchery within my manor?
Apologies, mistress. Breakfast is ready.
Thank you as always, Chloe. I'm glad that you have maintained your responsibilities. Let me consider this for a moment. She stands in the corner for a moment thinking, and then looks up and goes, I consider this good for now. And then moves in and sits down at the front at the head of the table and looks over at the rest of you lined up. Chloe, I'm already
Yes, mistress.
impressed by your attention to the fact that today is in fact Tuesday, and that means the salad fork goes inside, not outside. Wonderful. You feel the blessing of the mistress seem to come upon you in that moment, and there's this wave of just, it feels nice to actually be recognized for your work.
Hmm.
5 favor points.
Heck yeah.
5 favor points. Rukumi,
Yes, mistress.
do you realize I was watching that debauchery the entire time?
Now I do, mistress.
Oh, now it is apparent that I am aware of the activities that you have in the house.
Of course, mistress. Of course, you know all things.
Of course I do. That is my job, isn't it? Isn't that what we do here at Mystery Manor? We answer questions. So I need to make sure that everything is in place so that when people come in with their questions, that we can appropriately deal with them. That means things must be expedient. They must be quick and fast and tidy. Chloe, you understand this, but Rukumi, you will just require a bit more training. And then she puts her hand on top of your head
Thank you,
and
mistress.
gives you a soft pat. 1 favor. Haruka,
Yes, mistress. Yes, mistress.
what is it that you have been able to accomplish today, my darling?
Well, mistress, I was I am working on building my stamina so that way I may best serve you. I fed myself. I assisted in the dishes, and I am planning to assist your needs with the rest of your breakfast. And I'm hoping for a very special project because I would really like to help you today.
Of course. Yes, you will be able to help me today. I think that would be wonderful. My arm needs support.
Oh, absolutely. So Haruka gets on their knees and like props the arm with their head.
Oh,
Is this good?
Wonderful.
Is this a good
Yeah.
height, mistress? I could
A
slouch.
little,
I could.
a little lower, please. A little bit lower.
Okay.
Keep.
Okay.
Wonderful. I can slouch back now. Thank you. And she sits there for a moment, and you feel stress begin to build in this moment. You feel as though this is just a little insulting in comparison to the rest of the staff. You're not sure why she's making you do this again. You've done this, like, this has been like the 4th week in a row that she's made you do this. It's getting to you a little bit. Do you want to keep doing it?
I think I'm gonna keep doing it. But, Haruka's now also on the floor, looking down, I would assume, at the floor, and perhaps notices, "Oh, mistress, I am happy to polish your shoes today if you'd like. It looks like they're feeling a little worn for a Tuesday. Could I assist in polishing? It would make me happy and bring me so much joy while I'm down here supporting your delicate, beautiful arm."
Yes, if as a matter of fact, why don't I just remove my arm?
Ah, ah.
And yes, I would wonderful. It would be wonderful if you would do my shoes. Yes. Would it be kind of you? What's your character's name? Crystal?
I'm so sorry, Brittany. I was
Brittany.
looking at my own name.
Brittany. Yeah, I was also looking at your name. I was like, I know I
I'm
wrote
gonna
this
change
down
it because
somewhere.
I'm the only one
Yeah.
left. Yeah.
Brittany, why don't you support my arm today?
Yes, mistress. And as Brittany walks over, just very, very loudly, and like, but she's prepared. Being in the full armor, that's fine if she
Right.
provides the support.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Yeah. In fact,
Yeah.
she
She's
puts
good
her
with
arm
that.
on top of you, and you don't feel a thing. In fact, you just kind of sit down on the skirt, and the skirt's already supporting you, and you're just like, this is nice. This is like relaxing. 'cause
Happy to
all
be
the
sitting. Yeah.
weight is off of you. Get 10 favor for that.
Amazing.
Actually, you feel 10 favor come upon you because you're doing such a good job in sitting and holding the mistress's arm. And it's not bothersome at all. Now let's pause.
Incredible.
And what just happened in that situation, in that chain of events? We did a bunch of things there, right? Let's break that down. How did this all occur? So the initial impetus to the scene that triggered these problems was the introduction of Lady Mystery, wasn't it? All right. So that was the event that was set there, that I'd always known that was always going to happen at 6:30. The minute 6:30 was going to hit in the mod, we were going to have Lady Mystery show up wherever you were. It didn't matter. However, if you hadn't suggested a location, then she would have shown up in the dining room, as she has. And we're going to pause this for a minute. It's because during the first 2 hours of the game, when I gave you that open space and I gave you that time to introduce your characters, the reason I did this is because, one, the viewers at home don't know who you're playing, right? And two, I also don't know who you're playing. I need more information. I need to get in a better headspace, and I need to see you act and see how comfortable you are with acting, changing your voice, body language, how you're considering the situation, right? In all of those moments, I'm reading that from each of you, and I'm trying to gauge very carefully, like, does this moment fit in within the scene, within the context, and trying to make sure I'm required to actually rapid fire around the room. That's another rule that the master has in Maid that you don't know about. It is always my job to make sure that the action remains quick. It can never, ever go stale. If we ever hit a point where someone says, it's going to actually be one of the triggers in this game for the DM to do something. They have a requirement on it. In fact, if someone sits for too long, you're going to hear these dice roll. And if they do, then that means something random has happened in the world and been generated and been added. And I will now use that thing in order to create action and spur you forward. Now, why do you think it's set up in that way and not perhaps in a different way for this specific game style?
I mean, that's the genre, right? That's just this fast-paced television anime, it's just,
yeah,
that's a constant ratcheting up of tension.
Right. It feels a lot like the genre it's trying to emulate, right? It in those shows, we know from experience as geeks that we've seen these harem animes, we know the tropes. You did the, infamous trope. You went for the lecherous maid trope. You went to rip off the uniform with your maid powers, right? And everyone has seen that scene. It's happened in a bunch of animes. And in fact, the book even notes that around that power. And it actually points out that scene never actually goes right in an anime. The clothes never actually do come off. There's always a trick and there's always a catch. And that's what I actually would have done for you in that moment. I would have kept it to the genre. And I actually would have been like, no, absolutely. There is no nudity in this game because, you know, we're on Twitch, right? But at the same time, like there is a genre expectation that is placed upon the style of game. And that is that trope or tropes there like it. It's putting down tools effectively in order to allow tropes like this to happen ad hoc without you, the DM, or you, the players, willfully going for them. You're just going to naturally accidentally fall into them. And that's because of the game's design.
So then I have a question, Astra.
Yes.
For this game, like someone like me who does not, like I have no context for, I know what anime is, like I understand the genre in general. Is I can see how it would be helpful to have like intimate knowledge or be more familiar with anime. But does someone have to be like for a GM for this mod, does it need, like, is that a requirement? Or is it okay to also not have that much experience with it?
It's actually okay not to have experience with it. And there's a reason for it, which I'll have to get to later. And in fact, I want you to remind me of that question later on down the road when we get closer to the mod wrapping up, because that actually does matter very significantly. And I can actually go broader into that because there are a couple things happening within Maid that are relevant to that question. I just can't tell them to you yet because we are going to have to go and experience it a bit further, and you're going to have to see and feel, right? And that is the interesting part of Maid. It's going to create a variety of emotions at the table, and some of them may not always be great to have as a player. As a matter of fact, it's okay for a character to have those emotions. It's okay to have a character have these interactions. Like, for example, it's okay for Lady Mystery to put her arm on Haruka, right? And as a joke, it's funny within the context of the scene. It's not, you know, in any other circumstance. That joke's not gonna fly, right? But it works specifically because of the storyline and the mechanics around it. But something else in that moment happened very interestingly. I asked specifically to Haruka, do you want to keep doing this? And then you did find a way out of it, but you never said no. And why didn't you say no?
She's the mistress.
Right. She holds authority over you, doesn't she? And authority changes, of course, the relationship. And that is also the relationship that you have as a DM with players. It's just never made as explicit. It's always your role as a DM to find the most fun for all of the players at the table, regardless of why they're coming there for the fun. But you have to link them all somehow and keep them all together, pointed on at least one target and one storyline and one style of play. And that's what happens in a lot of games, unfortunately. Multiple players come in, they sit down at the table with the DM, they expect Dungeons and Dragons, right? But everyone's expectations of Dungeons and Dragons is now different. And it's becoming more and more apparent, especially with Critical Role and a couple of the other more popularized shows. You all knew off the bat to actually start doing voices and actually start being like in character. Would you believe that the last time I ran Maid, and I ran it about 7 years ago, I had to force people to do that. I had to beg them, ask them to get in character, to start saying, you know, to use the voices and to really go over the top because the game is built for that. It requires those situations. They wouldn't. It's very embarrassing to get to that level, especially around people you don't know that well. In a group setting like this, it can add a lot of that stress, you know, and that stress you might see in group therapy, that stress you're going to see in group situations and affects group dynamics. But in this, we can actually slowly break it down and begin looking at identifying markers as to why these personalities might clash in certain ways. That's why everything's randomized at the table, actually. It's because now there is no way to predict the two ways that two people at the table will interact. It will be completely off of what their standard personality is. There is no chance that you're going to be thinking this person literally thinks this Of course they don't. These are all randomized stats. These are all just made up numbers, and a couple of words that I've thrown at you in order to create situations. But in a Dungeons and Dragons based game, when you're making the stats yourself, when you're making the character yourself, when you're putting in all that time and effort, you said it yourselves, like you put in all this effort and value, that character means something now. It means something very, very important. And if I, as a DM, upset that balance or upset that level of authority in any way, and you feel like you're no longer heroic, that game is no longer fun, or if your style of play no longer aligns with the rest of the play. And this is what the game system actually is as a whole. It actually is the social contract. When a game master pitches a game and begins to get people together, you need to make sure at all times that they're always on the same social contract. They have the same expectations. And then throughout the process, as you move forward further and further, new expectations might arise because problems might occur within the game structure itself. Players might not have fun with each other interacting in specific scenes simply because they don't like each other in real life, or there's another stressor, available outside, right? That's affecting this in-game relationship. So how do you fix that? Well, shuffle things around, maybe break them up, have them go talk to other folks, have them go, tackle something that is important to them, but you have to find out what is important to them, obviously. And, y'all are good at that. You do that in your jobs, and you can do that here too. It works both ways. And it does become very helpful for making sure that people are just enjoying themselves as they're playing the game. And the game finds ways to move forward. Any questions on any of that? It's a lot to dump within that section of the space, but it is surprising because everyone's social contracts without social contracting. You just think it's just assumed because you agree on the system. Oh, well, those are all the rules, right? No, there are more rules. In fact, that's why I keep dumping rules on you tonight. You're now slowly starting to realize that there are rules that I've now hidden from you, that I am restricted by, and even and being affected by in a way that maybe you didn't anticipate, for example. But so far, is the experience still enjoyable? Let me stop there and ask that question.
Absolutely.
Pretty funny.
Okay. And now the person I would always be worried about the most would be, for example, Crystal. You said you have the least amount of knowledge of this genre. Is it fun so far?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I will also say that as a clinician who is still learning how to play well, play in general as a concept, I like this mod a lot more than ones that I've had experience with in the past, because it doesn't give me time to overthink, right? It doesn't give me time to have to sit with, oh my God, what am I going to do next? The nature of it is so fast moving and decided for me in some ways, right? To react rather than have to make up my own story. I really like it.
Yeah. There's a lot less, the big thing is obviously choice paralysis when you get to a game like this. And it's a problem that's obviously for all of you, a known psychological research. I've researched it too, but I've researched it these days in very different manners. When I initially was going for my psychology degree, I looked at it very much as, this is just a barrier, for example, and it sucks, but we can get over it. Well, as a game designer, it is the worst barrier that it can possibly happen. If I know as a game designer, if I'm giving you 6, 7, 8, or 9 decisions, I have given you too many decisions now. You won't know what to do. And with a book like Pathfinder or Dungeons and Dragons, it gets hard. It gets really, really hard, really, really fast to pick what you want to play. You have an idea, you want to make it work, but now you got to troll through all these tomes and you got to look through all this knowledge. You have to practice. You have to really put a lot of effort into that character. And because of that time investment and because of learning all of that, it means people are more attached to their characters in that way. But when we do it like this and do 10-minute, or like this case, a 30-minute character creation session, we can snap characters off and make them do weird things. And they're going to run around. They're going to be engaging in all sorts of things that a standard character wouldn't do in a very odd way. right? Simply
Who was it
because
that said they
we've
drive
changed the
their
rules.
they drive their D&D characters like stolen cars? Somebody said that once.
I've heard that once, yeah. And that's true. So hopefully that's a little bit of pickup there. But yeah, the game designers these days, especially online, are finding ways to reduce choice paralysis. It is a big thing for us. I think it became very clear when I was working on Dungeons and Dragons Online, and we had to compile feats directory. And now I think everyone here is familiar with feats as a concept. You know, you earn them at various levels. Yeah, think of a database that has every feat ever made in Dungeons and Dragons, and then has programmatical code in order to parse that information correctly and apply it in the right order on a character sheet in a video game.
It's a lot of feet.
It's a lot of feet. In fact, feet usually took about 8 hours by itself to compile. We would let it run overnight. And if it broke, the next day, almost every piece of work on Dungeons and Dragons Online was affected. So touching feats directory was a core part of the game. It was scary. You know, it's weird to say like, I don't want to touch feats, but when you know that it takes like 8 to 10 hours to make that one section of the game in a video game, and that's not the developer doing it, that's just the machine running. No one's there. Things just happening overnight. So anyway.
Touch mistress feet.
You
No,
will touch
that's what I'm
mistress's
doing.
shoes.
That's me.
Haruka will touch my shoes. Thank you, Bakumi.
I get the honor.
Shoes to her
I
feet.
get the honor.
Our producer's losing it, and I love this. I am so in right now. You may polish my shoes. And you look down, and they're very neat, tidy platform boots, by the
Oh,
way.
my
Black.
stars.
Yeah,
Mistress,
leather,
these are
imported,
beautiful.
imported Italian. Thank you. I
I will.
appreciate that. Take 2 favor.
Just keep working. Keep working.
And she's like, I'm actually having a good time. Like, my hands supported. You're all doing an amazing job. I think I'll try some of the breakfast now. And she does. It's okay.
I immediately like death glare at Chloe. Okay.
My apologies, mistress. I assume total responsibility for the mediocrity of your breakfast this morning.
You assume total responsibility.
I do,
No one
mistress.
else helped you prepare this feast.
They did not.
Well, I'll have to take that under advisement. I am disappointed, Chloe, but I will look forward to tomorrow instead. Perhaps that will be a new day for you to rise to the challenge.
I look forward to it, mistress.
-5 favor.
Well, there goes all that.
Mistress, if Chloe had had time, perhaps she would have been able to do a better job. I turned off the alarm immediately, and she slept in.
Oh. Well, if that had been the case, Chloe, you did not have to do all of that. You did not have to take responsibility in such a way. These mistakes happen. I'm much more understanding of it. You get all your favor back. And Rikumi, you gain 5 favor as well.
Ooh.
I am so thankful for your understanding. I will endeavor to use my time more wisely in the future.
Wonderful. How did my shoe shine go?
You want me to roll for it? Because I think it
Yeah.
went fantastically.
Oh, I think so too. But
Let's see.
the dice need to tell me. Only the dice are. I have this hair is in my mask.
Ah, well, it went okay. It's a 6. I'm young
6.
and learning.
Oh, there's a scuff mark.
Mistress, I will happily do it again.
Oh, no.
I apologize.
No, this will be fine. -2 favor. You're disappointed. Well, now that we're all together, I do believe we have to discuss the chores for today, now that I've tasted my meal, and now that all of you have prepared after your morning little rituals. I will need the back lawn watered today. That's all.
Of course, mistress.
You know how large it is.
Of course, mistress.
How large is it?
The largest lawn in the neighborhood, mistress.
Oh, indeed it is. And how long does it normally take, Chloe, to actually water my lawn?
Well, mistress, considering that the neighborhood has not received rain in the last 5 days, I would estimate probably the rest of the day.
Exactly. It will take, in fact, the rest of the day due to all the topiaries and the grass, and of course, the courts for tennis and soccer and foosball. I prefer my foosball outside.
Live.
Did you know that?
It's beautiful outside. It gives you the
It's
fresh
better
air
outside.
and yes. Life-size foosball.
Yes.
I would be happy to like take up the rack if you need me to, mistress.
Actually, that would be wonderful. If we could actually get life-size foosball in here, I would be amazed. Do you think you can do that?
Of course, mistress.
Yes, mistress.
Absolutely. As you wish.
Well, then maybe that is what we have to do today instead. The water's off. You have to go find me a very, very large foosball table, human-sized, and you must all be the players. That is what you will all have to organize at the end of the day.
Yes.
What did I just
Rakumi's
do?
excited to get to play some foosball.
Did I just divert from my mod?
A little bit.
Reacted to player suggestion.
I did. Yeah, and I threw the whole plan out almost. You know, I have a lot of ideas over here. And I had to just throw all that writing away. That sucks. What do you do about that?
Never,
What-
never prepare. That's my
You never prepare? You never prepare?
that's my slogan.
Yeah,
your
always
slogan.
Loose storyline.
be
Yeah.
prepared
Leave
to
some
be
wiggle
unprepared.
room.
Be prepared, but loose, Brittany.
Yes, I think that I as a DM, like conceptually thinking about that makes me break out in hives. I'm learning, like in the mods for training, when they talk about railroading, I have to pay careful attention, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so hard for me to improv and make things up on the fly. So yeah, I would be freaking out right about now.
Yeah, it's the improv usually that freaks people out, and being willing to walk away from a mod in the heat of the moment and actually do something that a player suggested and might be fun and sounds insane. This does sound insane. Can be a direction, but it is a very difficult direction to take. It is one that practice DMs can take, and you'll never know when it happens, right? Like as a player, the DM's not going to come out and stop like I have and said, I'm now just trashing the whole mod, like that's gonna lower your confidence level. Actually, you're gonna be like, oh man, this person doesn't know what they're doing. Like they just threw out all that work that they put all this preparation into. How are they gonna know exactly what to do in order to support me having a fun time? It can actually lower confidence when people find out that you've swapped things rapidly back and forth. But yet a DM has to do that all the time because you cannot ever predict what the player input is. It's the same reason we have problems in video games. We can set up a video game and bug test it day in and day out. But the fact is, a player will play that game differently than what I will predict. And when they do that, it's going to create bugs. And they'll find those bugs faster than I will. In fact, a community of 100,000 players is always going to find more bugs than me. I can never succeed, right? So does that make me a bad developer? Right? It doesn't. It just makes me human. It just makes all of us a human staff making a human game, right? But we don't perceive it that way because we perceive companies, right? You'll hear about the company made this, and then you'll be like, well, this game was bad. Well, this company must be bad, right? It can misfire. Even the best people misfire, And I think we found that recently with Blizzard, BioWare, Bethesda. They have had their misfires, but they've also had big
76.
successes.
Oh,
Do you want me to tell you that I was almost the live producer on Fallout 76? I
maybe would have
interviewed
been
for
better.
that. I hope I don't know. I wish all my best to my friends at Bethesda, especially
Would
those
you
who
have
did
made
work
a
on
glass
76.
Nuka-Cola?
Yeah. I can't answer that because I still have friends who work on 76. So I can't, and I wish them
Plastic.
all the best. I was playing 76 the other night. I do enjoy the game. But that's another one of those things where it can just happen to a project, and it can happen to the most professional of professionals. They know what they're doing on 76. Trust me. Like, they have been in the industry, and many of them had made games like this before, but it doesn't mean it's always going to work right every single time. And that's why you have to be willing sometimes to walk away, go with the flow, and listen to like what a player's suggestion might be, because it might be fun. It might lead you into interesting directions. But it's always a hard call to make. What's the time like? To our
9:37,
producer.
9:39.
Time left, I should say. 10:40. So, and when do we normally wrap up? 20 minutes left? Okay. Well, we're not going to go too much later, I don't think. So we're going to hopefully wrap this up, because I do want some time for questions and answers to talk about what we did tonight and really think about it as a whole. So let's go onwards. Wonderful. Foosball. I can't wait. Ta-ta. And Lady Mystery walks out. You have a task now. You have to make a life-size foosball using yourselves on this field. How are you going to do that?
I feel like we could go into the yard shed and gather
Oh,
a
no.
bunch.
Let's pause for a minute. We have to role play this.
Oh,
How will all of you ally yourselves and make foosball?
This makes me hungry. I'm kind of peckish right now. I'm a little nervous. But perhaps in the storeroom, we might have some metal posts. Should we do the metal posts?
We already have a tennis court. We could change
we're-
it. Come along, Haruka. We need to defeat Rikumi and Brittany.
What? Goodness gracious!
And I'll just
athletics. Actually, no. This is a back and forth athletics. So you're gonna roll athletics, Joe, and then Brianna, I want you to roll as well.
Am I still multiplying the result by 2?
You will still be multiplying the result by whatever your statistic is. Oh, statistic is, yeah.
Okay, copy that.
Yeah.
12.
12.
It's only an 8.
Oh, okay. So you have
Surprisingly
tried to
strong.
pull. Yeah.
I lift. Yeah. It's a little bit.
Good for you.
Do you want to go with Chloe, Haruka?
I mean, sure, it'd be nice to learn from a more experienced maid. 'Cause all I want to do is serve the mistress and in her glory, grant her wishes. Oh, yeah. Yes.
Five favor. I can't breathe.
Wise
Okay,
words,
fine.
Haruka. And then as I'm walking out, I will stare Rikumi dead in the eyes. Prepare to be defeated. And then keep walking.
Apparently, this is a team battle now. So
I think Brittany turns to Rikumi and goes, "What's foosball?" They keep
Three
saying
favor.
foosball. I don't.
Three favor.
What's foosball?
Yeah.
Game. Let's go.
All right.
She tries to rush, but she's very clunky.
So we're gonna have an anime cut, and we're gonna go over to Team Haruka and Chloe. You two are out hanging out on the tennis court, where you've met, because this is part of the idea. It's just the two of you. The house is behind you, topiary shrubs, but no one else. They're not around.
It's a lovely day, isn't it?
One favorite point.
Yes, the grounds are beautiful.
Mhm.
Too bad they'll be stained with blood.
Two favorite
kind of-
points.
Have you played foosball before?
All games are the same. There is a winner and a loser.
Yes, but I don't quite think you understand what winning actually means, right? Like, because winning, I mean, winning doesn't have to be bloodshed. We could all be friends. It's okay.
Foosball is a game played between two teams, yes? There is one player versus another player, yes? The mistress will win, and we will represent her.
Okay.
You wish to
Yes.
serve the mistress, yes?
Yes.
Well, then we are allies.
Okay.
The smile. It's the creepy smile after it. All the glasses. Okay, both of you, 5 favor for that scene. That was well done. Well done. Brittany, Rakumi. On the other side of the manor, you're over at the soccer court. And you're standing there. Everything's up a little bit. Y'all haven't really been through so much to weed whack and things, so it's a little overgrown, but not too badly. And the ball is lying out, and the goals are there, obviously. But it's just the two of you alone.
All right,
Team
Brittany,
Rakumi.
this is how it's a lot like soccer. And then I would demonstrate how to kick the ball properly into the goal, so that Brittany, just like this, I would kick in the goal.
So
then
it's
bring the ball
just
back
roll
to-
me
bring
an
the ball back to
athletics.
Brittany.
Yeah, roll athletics for that.
12.
Oh, very good. That's a great kick. Brittany, roll athletics. Where
Yeah,
you
bring it
kicking
back to Brittany.
You're trying to send it back to Brittany? Brittany, roll athletics for that?
Times, right? 2.
Times 2. So you have a total of 2. So you rolled a 12 and then you rolled a 2. So that's 10 points of stress damage because the ball just came flying at your face. It just went kadoosh, just slams into it. In fact, the camera even just goes and like it slows down and then slowly squishes the ball into your face. And while your face just goes, and Rakumi, you can see her in the background going, yeah.
Wait. With the armor, do I have a headpiece or no?
Oh, the armor's on. The armor is on. That's true. That's true. You know what? You're going to get another roll.
Okay.
Armor. What are we going to do with the armor? We need an idea here. How are you protecting yourself with this armor?
I think Brittany, being outside, sneezes and shuts the shield on accident. Like as the ball is kicked,
Ah, yes. Yes,
not
I
on
love it.
purpose.
Choice.
I love it. So I'm actually going to pause there and show you what you just did. So that actually is technically always in this situation athletics, because it is 2 physical forces, right, by the game's rules. But you have actually now flipped me around as the DM because I forgot that you have the armor because I don't have your character sheets in front of me. I'm like literally winging it. And now you have to interrupt me. You have to actually stand up and actually use player authority against my authority in order to make an impact on the story. And that is where role playing happens. This is where video games happen too. In fact, they actually happen in a computer screen. This moment happens within a computer. Now it's happening between 2 people, right? And I'm taking your idea under advisement and saying to myself, that's excellent, right? It's perfect for the character. It's perfect for the situation. It's funny, right? It adds to the scene. It's an addition. It's not subtracting from what anyone's doing. This is a very important improv technique called yes and, because you've never undone someone else's action. And that's what a lot of newbie role players actually get wrong very frequently. They do not like when someone else takes an action against them. That gets very personal all of a sudden. It's like, why are you attacking me? Well, you're not. It's just the game. It's just the rules, right? You know, like we're not so worried about it. In this game, that's okay because we opened up with a social contract of, and the points are made up. No one here cares if they earn my favor or a promotion. The promotion is dumb. It's made up for the game, right? You know, but it would be meaningful to a maid to get to be head maid, right? So you all play that way, but yet you are not those people. You know, that's what's important there in that moment. And yes, I do believe luck would be a perfect addition. By the rules of the game, it would be what would be happening here. I'm hoping your luck is a better stat. Is it?
It's better than my athletics for sure.
Yes. And that's what you should always do is you should always try to worm your way into the stats you're better at than your athletics. And that's what you should have been doing for everyone. You know, I'll teach that to you now. For all of these situations in Maid or a game like this, the idea is that you know your stats and you can see which ones are good, and therefore you're incentivized to use the good ones. But if you use them too much, that gets boring, as a matter of fact. If you're always saying athletics, 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 it's samey. It's going to probably bore you a little bit. And so we switch things up. That's why the GM is here to say, like, this one, just for this one time, not that. And make that correction so it's more appropriate for the story, more appropriate for the fun, and more appropriate to a character. And I think a lady dressed in armor should be able to take a soccer ball to the face quite easily. 5 favor. And yeah, you'll get to roll that again, this time with your luck.
Okay. So luck roll is 6.
Ooh, 6. All right. Yeah, good enough. You know, the ball hits, it did leave an impact, but no stress, no qualms. You're used to getting hit and knocked around. This is easy. In fact, it doesn't even bounce off. It just punctures on the armor. And if you want where that idea came from, that wasn't me. That was the producer who isn't even playing the game. And yet, you have now been a player in my game, haven't you? You reached over the wall and you broke the 4th ball.
Now there's pieces everywhere.
Pieces everywhere. The screen is cracked. Lady Mystery is just standing in the middle of the field looking up and being like, not again. And there's just like the sky has like a big freaking like opening in it where just like crits just punch down and just hit the ground of like, this is a great idea. That's what exactly what happened in this game. Rukumi, a giant fist from above and the producer comes down. What do you do?
Get my nail bat and swipe at it.
Yes. You have done damage to the producer's fist. Roll damage.
Oh, yes. 4.
4 damage. Crits, you have taken 4 stress points worth of damage, my friend. Add that to your not made character sheets. Oh no, he's in the back. He's getting something. I'm scared now.
To multiply it by athletics, because that would be 8.
Brittany and Rukumi, we need to. Oh, it would be 8. 8 damage was dealt to you. The producer from above feels stress begin to emanate upwards out of the game.
We're never going to get to play foosball without another ball. We have to find another ball.
The foosball. We only have 10 minutes to be able to do the foosball. How can we ever find a way to do the foosball in 10 minutes?
I Naruto run to find another ball.
Oh. Skill check. Brittany, what are you getting?
What am I doing currently?
Yeah.
Uh,
Rukumi has now run off to get another ball after the giant fist from above has now cracked the sky and landed a giant imprint into the field next to you.
I think Brittany like runs after Rukumi, tries to run after Rukumi, and it's like, but did I score? What's the score? I won that one, right? Foosball. I foosballed.
7 favor.
That's not how this works. That's not how any of this works.
I foosballed. I did it.
Yeah,
no, you did
wonderful. Haruka and Joe and Chloe, how far have you gotten to figuring out foosball?
Well, Chloe at this point probably has never played foosball except to see the tables that the mistress has put out. So she knows it's played with sticks, which means it's time to take the head off the mop and start seeing how hard she can send the ball across the field with the broomstick or mop stick. And let's see. Haruka may be being goaltender or might be giving tips, because it seems like from what the last experience was, Haruka actually knows what foosball is.
Well, I recently graduated from Maid College, where I participated in the foosball club. It was highly competitive, so I knew all the rules as well as ways to win.
Well, then it sounds like you're going to be my teacher. Let's go, senpai.
Oh.
Haruka straightens up and is like suddenly 6 foot from like 5'5".
Here's an interesting question I have to ask as a GM. Haruka, is this legit? Do you know all this?
I was never in a foosball club, but I have played foosball since I was probably tall enough to reach the tables. I love foosball.
Oh, you do? You personally love foosball. Okay.
I do.
But how's the maid?
Oh, the Maid. Yeah. I must say there's a Maid college that Haruka went to and got by with like a 2.8, just skirted over. Right. There's just some skills and finesse that Haruka struggles with. It's hard. It's hard.
Right.
But,
and so that's all yes and, right? So you're agreeing
yes.
with me, and then we're adding to it, right?
Yes. But foosball was the light of their life. It gave them meaning. It gave them drive.
And that would be 5 points. 5 more favorite points. Excellent. And yes, that's not cunning then, that's skill at that point.
All right.
And what is your skill right now?
It is a come on. Aha! 12.
12. We have done it. Yes, you do have a 2.8. And that glorious 2.8, and you graduated proudly in number 75th.
Out of 80.
Out of 80. Take 3 more favorite points for that. All right, let's compare. So time has now passed. The sun is getting closer to setting. You all have reconvened in the main field where the game is to take place. You've all agreed. And Lady Mystery strolls out from the house, and she looks upon all of you. What have you learned today?
Chloe will kind of bump Haruka forward a little bit. Be confident.
Well, mistress, as you can see, we have fabricated for you these nice long posts here's a delicate jeweled encrusted remote control for you to swing.
Okay, hold on. Rikumi, what did you learn today?
Just I've learned that Brittany's clothes are too sharp for foosball.
Okay, we're skipping you too. Brittany, what did you learn today?
I learned that foosball is a highly enjoyable and dangerous sport.
At least one of you played foosball. I was hoping at least one of you would know the rules. I still haven't ruined the rules myself. I just thought you take the spinny things and you just spin them for a while and then you throw the ball back and forth. Isn't that how it works?
Basically, mistress.
With finesse.
Oh, with finesse.
It's in the wrists.
Oh,
That's how you use the wrists.
I see. Chloe has learned to be confident. Haruka has learned that it's in the wrists. Rikumi has learned. We'll skip that part. Brittany, you have learned something valuable. I think you are the one who will walk away today the true winner. How many favorite points did you have?
I have 25.
How many favorite points do you have, Rikumi?
6.
Chloe,
14.
Haruka.
24.
Oh,
Ooh.
I do believe I do see a shine inside of you. And perhaps you are ready for the next level of promotion here at the Manor. However, I should note that all of you are actually qualified for the promotion, and there isn't just one slot you can all be promoted. No one
even
has.
me, mistress?
We'll get back to you on that. But in other news, at least that problem is solved. Actually, producer, could you roll me a set of dice?
How many dice?
What would you like me to roll?
I would like you to roll 2d6 and multiply them.
Okay. Let me see. So multiply them
Do you
against each
remember
other.
your 6
Mhm.
times tables?
20.
20. All right. And I have multiplied mine and I got a 3. So here's how the story is going to end. Wonderful. I am so thoroughly pleased that all of you have joined me here today to learn more about foosball, even though I had attempted to teach you all how to mow a lawn. Did not go in the direction I wanted it to go, but I still think we walked away a little bit richer and a little bit better for the experience. Did we not, my mates?
Of course, mistress.
Yes, mistress.
Yes,
We did get a
mistress.
promotion, so yeah.
I didn't say you could have the promotion. I said you could get it. We'll talk
Yes,
about that.
mistress.
We'll talk about that tomorrow. That's something
Yes.
that I need to put off until tomorrow. Promotions are always tomorrow. I do promotions on tomorrow. Does that make sense to you?
Of course.
Yes. Because tonight, unfortunately, is a different night. I have a guest over and we have to play some foosball. So if you don't mind, I think we do need some foosball pieces. So would you all be willing to consent to be foosball pieces?
Of course.
Absolutely, mistress.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you for, oh, did we hear it from everyone? Joe,
Of
would you
course.
like to, Chloe, Brittany, would you like to be a piece in this game? Would you like to learn
Brittany.
and put to the test your new foosball skills of the day?
It sounds like an adventure. Absolutely, mistress. She half bows in her armor.
Wonderful. She snaps her fingers and everyone turns into foosball tokens made out of wood, but you all have human consciousness. You are all now permanently attached to rails, which are now placed in the backyard that she seems to have made by simply snapping her hands. And then she looks up at the sky and goes, "Come on, crits. You owe me this match."
Let's go.
And the back and forth goes wild. The ball shoots back and forth, going from crits to Astra, Ebonwing, as they hit back and forth between Haruka, Chloe, Rikumi. Haruka comes in taller than all the other pieces, blocking at least 7 shots. Chloe, perfect as always, seems to reappear and move bars, always there wherever she needs to be to defend against crits. Brittany comes and joins the fray, leading them to success, yelling appropriate foosball techniques that are in no way anywhere related to foosball. And Rikumi is just sweet enough to be the goaltender. And she lets a few through every now and then, but everyone still loves her because she's cute, despite being lecherous. Unfortunately, the story does end on a tragedy because the score of that match was Lady Mystery 3, Midlife Crits 20. The end.
Well done.
Don't worry,
Well
mistress.
done.
We'll get him tomorrow.
You better! Don't embarrass me like this again! And now for the big reveal. I never wrote a mod tonight. I based
Fabulous.
everything off of what we were talking about. I based everything off of what I was asking you. I based it off of notes I was actually taking during the time. In fact, when we were on earlier, I was taking notes out the gate, just like y'all do, you know, and making notes on what you liked, what you didn't like, trying to find ideas or pieces that I could shove in at any possible moment during the time we would have tonight, because I didn't know how long things would be, right? So I wanted to make sure we could always land within our time frame, and have what was hopefully an enjoyable story of 4 maids attempting to solve foosball, which I didn't even know we were going to write. But that's the neat part. When you do
Well
a
done.
system like this, I don't know what I was about to write. And that was a really interesting story. So thank you to you for being the major power of that game. And that wasn't in the hands of the DM. That was just me setting you up questions, giving you tools and giving you ideas in order to have fun amongst yourselves, and learn maybe a bit more about camaraderie, how to work together, and maybe die for the gold, just at least a little bit. That rule, by the way, is an optional rule. And the reason I add it into the game is because it makes the game act very much like Scenes from a Hat, which is a known improvisational acting game. Normally, this would be written down by an audience member or be written down by something else, someone else, and then added to a hat, and then you draw it, look at it, and have to act it out. Instead of doing that, I called it a role-playing game. And that was the only change. That was the only actual change between those two things. Despite this being, and I'm not kidding you, this is a 155-page rulebook. So you wonder how a game that has rules this short has 155 pages of content. It's all tables and suggestions and randomizers. And for you, the DM, where if you get stuck and you really don't know what to do, you can actually roll dice in this book and find and figure out a plot point that you can now build on, and then try and go from there. And then look for what the other players are liking, what's making people laugh, what's bringing people in, what's getting them to speak up, and start using those elements, just like, you know, some geek mentions. You can start opening people up, telling you more about them, and hearing about their jobs, and hearing about what they do and why they're doing it. I really wanted to know why you joined the session tonight, because that mattered. And I want to make sure you walked away with something that would help you. So I hope it did. And I hope you got to have some interesting perspectives on experience by standing in someone else's shoes while another person, shining them, or another perspective by shining someone else's shoes. Or in my case, I was restricted. Actually, I was not always in charge. And I was flying by the seat of my pants. And I too was just like y'all. I was not much of a DM. I was just another player adding in another couple of fun ideas.
That worked really well.
Yeah, surprising, isn't it?
I mean, the randomized tables, I think, really do a number on this game, and just the ability to react in such a small amount of time.
Yeah.
I did have a question.
Yes, of course.
If this is time for Q&A, but I didn't want to
This is time for
derail.
Q&A, and chat is more than welcome to as well. Yeah.
So I was going to ask, with all of the sort of jumping into the system that's so randomized. Admittedly, we all came to play, right? But
yeah,
when you're doing this for the first time with a group of people who may not know what to expect in a situation like this, how would you feel like you would meter that really kind of, you could call it a tightrope of like consent in certain situations? Because I mean, obviously the lecherous, the sort of lecherous move, like, that's an expectation. But
for the script,
but if you're not familiar enough with the genre, especially with the harem comedy or the reverse harem comedy, you might not see that coming.
Yeah, exactly.
So how do you sort of feel like you would meter that out in that situation?
That's a really good question. And I'm glad you're pitching it like that, because it is a matter of pitch. It is a matter of audience. Like I asked very extensively who all of you were to try and understand my audience before I picked the game, right? And then when I understood, I was like, actually, Maid's very interesting for psychological reasons, because it moves the locus of control away from the DM. It appears that the DM is in charge because they call themselves the mistress or master. They appear to be running the game, and they appear to be the ones driving the story, but they're not. It's actually down to these silly little tables, and me looking across them and actually just picking and choosing and going off of that. So what I do in those situations is, if I know the audience and that trope won't work, I actually just never consult that part of the table. And then I would actually choose something one above or one below. I would just
Makes
choose
sense.
something next to it. Yeah. And then that way, that part of the game is now skipped. It's never introduced. And even though it's there on the table, I'm just not using it. In fact, there was an option for that in this game because it does have dark mode effectively. You can take this towards the more not safe for work angle. And there are rules for that. And they are written carefully down to really talk about, consent and boundaries in the book. But as part of that, there are dark modes of tables. And like, for example, relationship could also become perversion was the other option that I had. So if I was running a dark game for y'all, it wouldn't have been a relationship as the choice for Haruka. It would have been perversion instead. And then that would have changed the outcome.
Got it. So it's just an element of reading the room almost.
It's an element of reading the room and knowing who you're talking to beforehand. If you don't know the audience, the game actually comes with a lot of these base features, such as I said, the Maid type chart, which can be a little bit modified. Like I said, they call it Lolita simply because it is the theme of the game. But they do make a note and said, this is just basically a childish character. It's not literally a Lolita, right? This is within the genre. This is what it would be called and most referred to simply because it's easy language. The person most likely reading this book is an anime fan. Therefore, it's written towards anime fans. But that creates some interesting problems for if a non-anime fan reads it, because they could be like, well, this could be teaching something bad. No, it's actually teaching something very good. It's actually teaching a lot of boundaries and consents and lines. But it never actually, it can be easily misunderstood if you don't actually sit down and experience it. In fact, that was something I was talking to Dr. Bean about, because he was like, is this an appropriate game for this audience? And I said, you'd be surprised. You'd be very surprised, but it's very appropriate. You wouldn't think that the anime lighthearted RPG actually has a number of serious changes and serious mechanics that make it mechanically different from the way that we play role-playing games in our culture today.
I'll jump in real quick and say that this is the first time I've actually suggested something to happen during a session that I've been part of.
Yeah. Nice. Which is pretty cool to get that in and even have anyone jump in at any time. That's another neat part of the system. When I was first introduced to it, it was actually the translator of the game, the guy who had translated it. He found me at a convention. I was walking past a number of games being played, and he grabbed me and he said, "Do you want to be a maid?" And I said, "I don't really know if I have time to be what? What are you throwing at me here?" And he then said, "This is the game we're already playing." I said, "Well, how am I going to play if you guys are already playing?" "Oh no, here's a character. We're going to roll up in a second." Did the same thing for me right there. And I was in the game midway through. And I was like, that's already innovative, because other role-playing games can't do that. Tell me more, and it's because of this rules light structure and this locus of control changing away to the system, and the GM's role essentially just being referee. They don't have to provide all this content. They don't have to provide all this deep meaning, I guess I should say, because that's what I do as a game developer, right? I'm the one writing all of these stories normally, and then just presenting them to you, and then you just take it in and you go, "Oh yeah, that's good," and then you interpret it, the story, right? But because games are interactive, and because I want to make interactivity a priority, this is what happens when you do that. Any more questions?
I have one more, but I know people probably may need to go to bed, but
yeah, we'll do one last one.
All right. So you mentioned choice paralysis.
Yes.
How do you fight that as a game master in a game like this that requires such rapid fire application of decision making?
That is a really interesting question. Really, what I try and do is write down generic goals that I have for the session. And so there was some preparation that did go into this. And I did have generic goals, which were, I wanted to hit choice paralysis. I wanted to talk about that at least a little bit. I wanted to be able to hit on authority, and discuss that and the way that authority changes relationships and can change decision making in that moment, such as Ruka, choosing not to remove the arm. And that just happened to come up. I was waiting for it to come up because I knew it would, right? There were elements that I was expecting to happen, and I wanted those goals to happen so we could pause and then talk about it and have those teachable moments. But I never knew when, right? I just was waiting effectively to spring those. In some cases, I looked for when people were really into it and laughing and really just showing me a lot more attentiveness, because right now you're all looking down, you're all looking away, you're all sort of nodding your heads, and that's because you're listening and you're processing. But when you were engaged, your eyes are much brighter. You're looking at me. You're clearly about to say something, and I'm like about to preempt you, and that's why I'm like pointing. Or I would wait and listen to like, oh, someone hasn't spoken for a while. Who hasn't spoken? Oh, it's Joe. Or oh, it's Brittany. And then I was choosing based off of who hasn't spoken for a while, because I wanted to make sure that you had time to play, because I didn't know how much explanation there would be, and I wanted everyone to at least have dice rolls and have some fun and really think about their characters and have the characters have some meaning to the plot. That was the way I sort of sectioned myself, even though there were a lot of avenues to go down. Those were my primary goals. One, talk about these important game design rationales. Two, make sure everyone at the table has fun. Three, point out that statistics do matter despite not having much meaning, and despite me not telling you much about the rules. You assigned meaning to them. You made it into meaning, and then you made characters from it that became fully formed people, despite them only being a few digits and a grand matter of 7 words, maybe. We created some fully fleshed out characters who seemed like they could have existed within a harem anime.
Excellent. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
Of course. Yeah, it's always funny when you actually look at the base components of what's in the character. There's nothing there. Everything that you're making it up in your mind, and you're projecting it out there, right? You're filling in for the rest of me, and that's what the white space is. And for DMs, yes, you should always leave white space. Make sure you have goals that you want them to accomplish. Don't define how they accomplish those goals. Let them figure that out. That's their job, right? Just remember that line exists, because there are some things that you don't have to think of, and don't worry yourself about doing that. You don't have to have an answer for every problem. Sometimes it's up to the players to figure it out. And if the answer was good, let them have it. Accept it. Accept that maybe your idea wasn't the best, but they're still having fun, and then move on. All right. Well, with that, I think we're good for the evening. Thank you very much for joining us. Appreciate it deeply. When's the next time y'all will be live?
That will be next week, and it will be, let me pull it up real quick. Actually, I've got the calendar.
Gotta promote that.
Yep. The next week we are live on Tuesday and Thursday, and we have Colin Wong with Fate both times.
Awesome.
Fate. Love
Well,
Fate.
if you're the viewer, enjoy Fate. If you're all y'all have D&D next week with John Wick. I'm jealous. I've always wanted to play a game with John Wick, and I never have. One of these days. But it was wonderful meeting you. If y'all have any questions, you can always reach out to me afterwards. If you have questions at home, you can reach out to me online. My Twitter is Astra_Ebonwing, just like my name. I'm pretty easy to find. And I'm also in the Geek Therapeutics chat as well. And I'm happy to answer questions or just chit chat about anything. So if you all have questions later that you think of, please ping me. I would be more than happy to answer.
Thanks so much.
No
This
problem.
was-
Thank you.
Thank you.
An absolute blast. So much
Awesome.
fun. I'm going to pick up this game and I'm going to run it every week with my friends.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So-
enjoy it. It's good to just pull out on a whim. It's nice and fast. It's like telephone. So
Outro is playing. Chat. I was so. If I had known we were playing something anime inspired, I actually pulled this out because when I'm not feeling confident in showing the audience my face,